When movie theaters reopen, it's gonna be very awkward to go to Universal City Walk and attend the AMC movie theater over there. Boy, the tension sure will be palpable. And the other thing too, I can't wait for the pandemic to be over so I can finally get a haircut. This is why I wear a beanie or I have a ponytail in every single video now. Voila. So apparently, AMC no longer wants to play Universal Pictures movies at the theaters, at their theaters. I remember a time so long ago when AMC Stubs A-list program was the best thing in the world. $19.99 a month, and then I could rack up rewards points, sometimes get $5 off my popcorn, sometimes get $10 rewards to get some mozzarella sticks on top of that. Watch The Invisible Man through A-list, which is a Universal film.
Picture, the company we don't get screenings from, so we have to use it.
Anywho, let's break down this report from The Hollywood Reporter. This is what NBC Universal's Jeff Shell, CEO, said to the Wall Street Journal. The results for Trolls World Tour have exceeded our expectations and demonstrated the viability of PVOD. As soon as theaters reopen, we expect to release movies on both formats. Because Trolls World Tour made a crap ton of money, estimated $100 million. Video on demand, and in a strongly worded letter to Universal Filmed Entertainment Group Chairman Donna Langley, AMC Theater Chair CEO Adam Arid said Shell's comments were unacceptable. AMC is the largest circuit in the world. And here's what AMC's Aaron said. It's disappointing to us, but Jeff's comments as to Universal's unilateral actions and intentions have left us with no choice. Therefore, effective immediately, AMC will no longer play any Universal movies in any of our theaters in the United States, Europe, or the Middle East. We don't know how to handle the pandemic situation and my ego is really faltering all over the place right now. This policy affects any and all Universal movies per se, goes into effect today and as our theaters reopen, and it's not some hollow or ill-considered threat. No, 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 no. Incidentally, this policy is not aimed solely at Universal out of pique? Nah. Or to be puntive?
Punitive.
Yeah, whatever. And anyway, it also extends to any movie maker who unilaterally abandons current windowing practices absent good faith negotiations between us so that they, as distributor, and we, as exhibitor, both benefit and neither are hurt from such changes. Currently, with the press conference today, Universal is the only studio contemplating a wholesale change to the status quo. Hence, this immediate communication in response.
Like an Adam Sandler character.
And here's what the Universal guy said. We absolutely believe in the theatrical experience and have made no statement to the contrary. As we stated earlier, going forward, we expect to release future films directly to theaters, as well as on PVOD when that distribution outlet makes sense. We look forward to having additional private conversations with our exhibition partners, but are disappointed by this seemingly coordinated attempt from AMC and NATO to confuse our position and our actions.
Goodness gracious.
Our goal in releasing Trolls World Tour on PVOD was to deliver entertainment to people who are sheltering at home while movie theater and other forms of outside entertainment are unavailable. Based on the enthusiastic response to the film, we believe we made the right move. And then here's where this is fun. AMC has been particularly hard hit because of its debt loading heading into the pandemic. Following the closure of all AMC locations in the latter half of March, Wall Street analysts predicted that the circuit would be forced to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, but grew more bullish after the company issued a $500 million debt offering earlier this month. Aaron himself is among the corporate staff furloughed because of the closures. And the last thing we'll quote from here, Universal's unilateral pronouncements on this issue are palpable to us. So it's always been the case AMC is willing to sit down with Universal to discuss different window strategies and different economic models between your company and ours. However, in the absence of such discussions, an acceptable conclusion thereto, our decades of incredible successful business activity together has sadly come to an end. So sad. So this means F9 will not be playing at the theaters. Halloween Kills will not be playing at the theaters. Jurassic World.
Ones anyway.
Yeah, Jurassic World 3 will not. But AMC's the biggest one. They're the biggest chain worldwide.
Well, you know, Cinemark's opening in July.
That's true.
Maybe.
I still feel like this is some type of public, I don't care what he says about it not being a threat. It's clearly a threat. I feel like there's a desperate attempt here to prevent the video on demand experience from occurring. occurring. We're living in an unprecedented time. Right now, the movie theater experience is gonna change. It undoubtedly will. With the experience of PVOD, I can see what the NBC Universal CEO is talking about. I think some movies will decide to ultimately go to PVOD and some will remain in theaters because, yeah, I don't wanna watch Tenet on the small screen. I don't wanna watch Batman on the small screen. I don't wanna watch F9 on the small screen. You know, there are movies I definitely wanna see on the big screen. I don't see, though, how AMC could possibly get out of this $500 million debt by not allowing three what will ultimately be juggernauts at the box office.
Yeah.
Like, those 3 films I listed will be huge films.
Not to mention all the other Universal movies
Exactly.
they stand to profit off of.
I mean, there's like Candyman as well that's coming out. A lot of the Blumhouse movies, they partner with Universal primarily to distribute their films. I don't think this was the right approach. I feel like this is now going to turn into remember the Spider-Man deal that occurred? With Sony and Marvel and like what can they do with Spider-Man? It was obviously public negotiations, and now that's what they've entered into as public negotiations. I feel like a lot of people will not mind the PVOD experience. There are people like us who are probably watching this video who are gonna want the theaters, obviously. Like, undoubtedly. When you factor in the world, I think a lot of people will not give 2 shits about having to watch a movie, no matter how big of a spectacle the film is. Maybe it'll be preferable, but I think they will not mind watching it at home. John, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, with this, I think it's a little awkward the way they're all dealing with it, and I do understand, at least from AMC's perspective, the idea that it would have at least been nice to talk about this because we can talk remotely. It's not that hard. From their point of view, I get it if every other, you know, major studio has kind of been above the board about it. However, I don't think they're really in a power position to say that and have Universal be like, oh goodness, let us reconsider. I don't know, we'll see. I mean, I think this is kind of inevitable now, especially because of the pandemic, and I have 2 questions based on that. One is to Universal, you know, partly I imagine you're seeing such a huge success because it's the only way to see this movie and people are hungry for a new movie, and it was just about to come out, and they had all that advertising. So now I wonder if this just became their paradigm, how that would persist over time. I don't see this as being the downfall of movie theaters, but I imagine this would be a redistribution, because I gotta think that a lot of studios are gonna want to do this kind of thing, do a simultaneous release, and then you're gonna see some of the people who prefer to stay home, who hate going to the theaters, staying home, or, you know, stacking up and saving that money, but you're still gonna have the people who care about the theater experience, who want to share that with their families in the case of Trolls 2, which, you know, I mean, say what you will about kids at the theaters. I don't necessarily think this is the end of this conversation, just because it just popped off and it's such a harsh, like, 2 extremes kind of debate. I don't know, I think it's kind of funny, and yeah, I get Universal entirely being like, oh, this was a success, we're just gonna kind of dual release them from here on out, because that's smart. AMC needs to look at the world around them, and especially, I think, too, this might have something to do with the fact that they are doing their own PVOD type stuff through their app and things like that, or at least, if not, you know, like up-to-date PVOD, like recent releases on demand, whatever the other types of VOD are. There are at least 3. I can't imagine this is the end of this, basically, and I wonder how AMC is gonna persist, and if they do file for Chapter 11 and restructure their whole business, what's that gonna look like? I don't think this will be the same as it was, though, coming out of this, and I really wonder if they're gonna tear down that theater now.
AMC is desperate right now, as I'm sure a lot of movie theaters are, even like the local small movie theaters,
Especially the local small theaters, yeah.
But AMC, being the biggest movie theater chain in the world, they're desperate to make sure that people are still going to the movie theaters. And I mean, in some ways, this might work to their benefit because it's obviously going to open a door where they're going. It's not like Universal's going to be like, screw you guys, fine, you know. They're going to open the door because at the end of the day, we don't know when movie theaters reopen. We don't truly know what will happen because Universal might see that, well, actually going back to the movie theaters, we'd make more money, you know? And at the end of the day, what they're always going to be looking for is how they can make the most money possible. I can get that. AMC is trying to make sure that they're making the most profit possible, getting the most customers, people attending their theaters. But if half of the audience for a Universal film is like, no, just watch it at home instead. But Universal's also not coming out and saying that they're gonna do this for all their movies. Universal hasn't said, yeah, F9 and Halloween Kills, well, half of it, I mean, you could either watch it on video on demand, or you could go to theaters.
Well,
Isn't that cool? That's not what they're saying.
Well, that's a great point, too, because now I'm starting to wonder if, you know, you're going to see the approach warp tons of times, and so maybe they'll start having it where the first 2 weeks it's exclusively in theaters, so you make sure that everyone buys a ticket and doesn't, you know, stack up on that $20 fee.
Movies, on average, go to streaming or rental or Blu-ray within like a 90-day period.
It's pretty fast. It used to take like a year or more.
And a big movie will have legs for a while, but most movies usually make their biggest profits in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then there's another giant blockbuster these days to take its place, you know?
Undoubtedly, the system is going to change. I don't know exactly what it will be, but AMC is looking rather, what's the word?
Butthurt, as the kids would say.
They're looking feisty right now.
Yeah, they're not looking good.
All right, guys, well, what do you think of this news?
Are you excited to watch them slap each other some more?
Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe, click that notification bell. Keep looking for more videos.